Welcome to Championship Sunday here at the Western Clash, where 4 teams remain. They will have to dig deep to find a method to have the freedom to call themselves the one team left over here today. I am Jay Howe. Joining me is Tetcher and Kala. And gentlemen, we have had some fireworks so far, but the big ones come today. What are you expecting?
I think we're going to have some fantastic matchups. We already have 4 fantastic teams left, as you said, with one sole hope for North America. Can they win their first ever... Can they win their first ever Western Clash? North America and Team Freedom bringing it back.
Team Freedom has surprised me so far. I think that they've performing very, very well. They've adapted better than any North American team so far, but Dignitas, definitely the team to beat. Honestly, I'm going to say it right now, I would be surprised if Dignitas even dropped in a single map this entire tournament.
So far, so good. Let's see how they got there as we take a look at our brackets. And you can see how everything has unfolded. Obviously, Team Dignitas moving their way with ease, but it's been Team Freedom and Leftovers, kind of the surprises, those 3-4 seeds from their respective regions, but Team Freedom moving to that upper bracket. And Leftovers taking down, they are the NA Slayers apparently in this tournament, but they will have Method later today. So as we take a look at our schedule to see how this day will unfold, because we will be starting our way at the top of the bracket. So Team Dignitas versus Team Freedom, and then Leftovers versus Method, and beyond that, it's a matter of who's staying and who's going home. And for you guys, obviously, you don't expect Dignitas to drop them out, but how about that later series?
I think, you know, during Leftovers and Method, that's going to be an incredible matchup. Method, obviously, I think the more experienced team. Leftovers, though, they have proven to be so adaptive when it comes to this tournament. They've been playing super well. I can't wait for that matchup.
Well, they are going to be playing for this prize pool here, $30,000 for that first place. The main thing, guys, is getting that extra place for BlizzCon. If you win with your respective region, you get that 3rd slot, and so you can play for that. And that is something that Team Freedom, they are the last hope for the likes of Heroes Hearth and Tempo Storm, because that is 3 top teams, but the rest of the prize pool all the way on down is something that these teams will be playing for. So a lot at stake here for these teams. And Kala, we've seen so much for this. What are you looking forward to, or what's been the most standout performance that you've seen so far?
The Leftovers. Just without a doubt, I think it's the Leftovers. They have come into this tournament with the mentality where they're saying, like, they just want to get past day 1. But look at, they're here. Championship Sunday. I can't wait to see what more they can bring to this tournament, because so far they've been very adaptive. Their team fighting's been fantastic. It's if they can get a little bit better grasp on the macro gameplay, I think this team has a shot.
Well, we're going to take a look at our teams as we are going to get this day started. Team Freedom, of course, North America's last hope, the hometown crowd here, as there's been a lot of noise made for this team. There's a good look at a few Canadians that we have on that team.
So Carl, a little bit biased there, but here is my star player at the moment, Lutano. He's been pulling off so many plays, managed to bring out the Phoenix twice during this tournament. 50% win rate on it so far, actually a little bit more I might believe, but either way, he's been putting on such a good show on any hero he's been put on. And of course, Team Freedom, they have done something that none of the other American teams have done. As you brought up, Jay Howe, they took down Leftovers, who have been the NA Slayers, as you said.
Kala, this team, we heard from them many times throughout this week that the previous Western Clash, they had high hopes and those dropped drastically. But this is a team that is seemingly ramping up. The more games they play, the more their success, and every single day their confidence seems to be going up as well.
We've heard them say multiple times that they were having issues in scrims before the tournament started, and that was a contrast compared to what they experienced earlier on in the year. What I really want to see from this team is if that confidence is going to get to them, because they're coming off of a 3-1 right now. I want to see them enter this series the very same way that they've entered the previous series in this tournament, to see if they can really make things happen for themselves.
Well, Zelia, we know he has plenty of hair. Wubby, he keeps his nice and coiffed. Zelia, I have no idea what his hairstyle is called, but you can see Dignitas, make no mistake about it, this is a superstar team from every single role that they have. JPL could be the most veteran player that we have at his role on the tank role, and then Wubby, probably the most prolific when you look at his history and how many championships that player's been to.
Those two are actually pretty close in terms of championships, but Wubby just ekes out JPL. JPL starting off a little earlier in terms of championships, but Wubby, he just got one after another in the last year and the year before.
As far as Wubby goes, I think he is one of the most well-respected players in the entire world. You talk to any person on a Western team, and they point to Wubby as being like basically a precedent setter for shot calling, for just commanding a team, and also just his off-lane play is nothing but fantastic.
I don't think I've heard anybody ever say that there's anybody close to being second in his role globally. He just does so many things differently, and it was such an interesting thing that when we were at Mid-Season Brawl, one of the focuses was Korea to dive on that, and all of a sudden everybody's like, wait a minute, is Dignitas somewhat mortal here? And I think that when we see the Dragonshire games, these are things that stand out to me, because this is something that Team Freedom told us just a couple of days ago, was that they used that focus on Korea to see what they did on Dragonshire, to find things that did work and how they could be more aggressive. So I am curious if they will turn their attention that way, or whether they give him the respect that he deserves.
I think you mentioning that is very interesting, because at this event it's sort of been the opposite, where Wubby has been allowed his Urel a lot at this event, and that was something that we were all looking at the start of this event of like, he played this so many times during league play and was allowed to just get away with it.
He got away with a lot. We'll see if he can get away with more as we are ready to get this underway, and we're going to take a look at our battlegrounds here, and we will start things off on Dragonshire, a map that we have seen Team Freedom feel comfortable on as of late in league play, and coming in here as the bans, of course, on Brax's holdout by Dignitas, nothing different there, but taking Volskaya away was Team Freedom. But for Dragonshire, this has historically been a very good map for Dignitas as well.
I think the takeaway of Volskaya is actually very, very smart. Obviously, the ban on Braxis from Dignitas is highly indicative of what they've done in the past, so that one just makes sense flat out. But yeah, this is an excellent one to start out on. Again, always the top lane matchup in this map, because to me, Dragonshire, it always has that separated top lane, and it's so fun to watch internationally these competitors compete in that solo lane. But yeah, again, just talking about Wubby, I just can't wait to see which heroes come out here. The Medivh ban, let's talk about it.
18 bans in this entire tournament. The only hero I believe has come close, you were telling me earlier, Jay, how is Maiev. She has been dominated, and we do finally see Team Freedom removing away Wubby's Urel, taking away that focus on the solo lane. Whereas Dignitas, they're removing a little bit of microplay, and there is the second one. So we're now up to 19 bans on the Medivh and 17 on the Maiev.
We'll take a further focus on how some of the meta is broken out later on in this series, but make no mistake about it, Kala, earlier this weekend you were talking about how some of that meta that we've seen from Dignitas started to show up in scrims and made its way over to North America. Medivh Maiev was not really played in league play, but all of a sudden here, it's really showing itself, warranting 2 bans against Team Freedom.
I have a feeling that today's meta will be a little bit different from what we've seen so far. I do think that, yeah, there we go, Dignitas with the first pick, Phoenix. I don't think that's too surprising. Phoenix has showed up so much in this entire tournament. He has been a fantastic pick and high success rate as well. There's a response by Team Freedom with the Garrosh and Deckard Cain. Lots of control over the 4-man, lots of lockdown, and of course the sustain from the potions.
Johanna immediately coming in, the best tank against that Garrosh, but with this opening from Freedom, you can see a little bit of nervousness wherever maybe that Sergeant Hammer will come back in. This map is fantastic, controlling the bottom lane, grabbing those mercenary camps basically when you can, but being able to dominate that with the Sergeant Hammer and Deckard Cain can be so hard to deal with. So what we're going to see is the potential for ganking coming in from Dignitas with Wubby's Dahaka, a solid solo laner, and the opportunity to try and disrupt that hard 3-man push if that's a direction Freedom take.
This is very fun, because when you see the Dahaka, a lot of the times that indicates the fact that Dignitas will look for those early invades, especially over the siege camp. But you're invading against a Garrosh and a Deckard Cain. That is terrifying. So much lockdown for Deckard, and of course Garrosh can just flip you right over the wall into the fort. So Dignitas do have to be cautious of that.
That was actually one of the most money plays I saw yesterday. I wish I could have had that for a clip. On Dragonshire, he waited for DAB. You could see Zugrug with his positioning.
Yes.
It was phenomenal play. Those small things like that really stand out to me. We'll see if it comes in. But Kala, something that you and I have discussed as of late was the frontline control over somebody like Garrosh, and Deckard does that really well. And pairing that with a Phoenix, does it feel like they had to get that Deckard in that early slot to deny it away if they wanted to play that Garrosh?
I don't think Dignitas is too concerned about it. There's still other variables that can be introduced to try to lock down the Garrosh. Also, Phoenix has escape tools. Johanna can peel a little bit, and Dahaka as well. I think that they're okay playing against the Garrosh in this situation. Of course, it's Dignitas. They're very, very conditioned here. And you have the Johanna as the matchup. Johanna versus Garrosh, it is actually perfectly fine for Johanna.
For the Alliance.
Hanzo Jaina. This is North America in its finest. We got some fans of these two heroes. Everybody knows, hey, look, we've seen this before. For North America, Hanzo Lutano is one of the most terrifying. He's almost up there in the Crowan realm, but Jaina, Yoda has played this hero a lot. You have that easy rotations to get that wave clear and rotate to the bottom for extra kill potential.
It's incredible burst potential. It's really good for the Hacker and the Phoenix. Here we're going to see the reasonably early Chromie. There's no cleanse. And once again, Dignitas has put their faith in the solo support Uther, seeing it's quite unlikely we'll see someone like a Lunara or Gul'dan who can massively punish that Uther, as two as ranged assassins have already been picked up, and Freedom still really need a solo laner.
The hardest part that I think Team Freedom is going to have is strictly surviving the initial burst, because Hanzo does win out in the long run versus Uther, but the Johanna Chromie combo is something that if you're running a Deckard, that Dignitas will run into you. They know that that cleanse isn't there. This is for bunker. Yes, it's a good solo laner. Yes, it's there, but it's also for that bunker in case there's a temporal loop. But Dignitas does not care whether they have temporal loop. The setup and the coordination between JPL and Poik alone is terrifying. I can tell you guys, this is a tried and true combination. They love to get that set up. Chromie will follow up those condemns, understanding there, and those two squishy backliners of the Hanzo and the Jaina, those are very threatening targets, including the Deckard with no cleanse.
And of course, you don't actually need to go punish the lack of cleanse. You don't have to go temporal loop. Slowing stance is still a fantastic setup for Phoenix, so they've given themselves a very versatile composition. They can either go hard lockdown on temporal loop or fantastic burst with the purification salvo.
And we were talking about the control over Garrosh. What better way than those sands, right? He's not able to walk in through Delta if that's the place, or perhaps if it's on the bottom side of the map as well. The biggest thing here, Jaina, Hanzo need to be so careful about their positioning. Dignitas is the team. If you step out anywhere, they're going to delete you.
Well, we are ready here for game number one, and we are going to send it over to the familiar faces of your two favorite casters of Trixler and Caldor.
North America's last hope versus the best in Europe. What a way to start our Sunday, Caldor.
And also a pretty cool draft here. We've been talking a lot about Chromie has been struggling in Europe, but one of the teams that really made her work is Dignitas, and we saw it here at the Western Clash as well. And even a Johanna over the Muradin that we usually see from JPL on Dragonshire.
It really feels like Dignitas is coming out here in game number one, just making sure they have a safe draft. Wave clear, the ability to engage if they need to, the ability to back up as well. That Uther coming with the Chromie to make sure that burst isn't stopped. Very safe to see what exactly North America is trying to pull off.
And even the Haka now being played, mixing it up with the Globals a bit, a hero that they have not played in the European setup, in the European League, as we are seeing them starting over to the left side in game number one of the best of 5 series here. To the left, Team Dignitas with a JPL on Johanna at the front line. Wubi, of course, finds himself in the side lane with the Haka. We're currently seeing Poik on Chromie once again, which leaves us with Snitch on Phoenix and Zelia on Uther.
And on the right side, the last North American team. Zogrug on Garrosh, Yoda on Jaina, Collusion on Deckard, Nazmus on Blaze, Lutano on Hanzo, Team Freedom!
Uther definitely starting to make his way back into the meta here. I've seen him several times at the Western Clash. And in the early game, Dignitas immediately splitting up. Not even trying to brawl here in the middle. They don't want to end up in a situation where you get locked down by Deckard Cain, thrown by Garrosh, and where Blaze even has a chance to follow it up with a jet propulsion. So no early kill opportunity for Freedom.
Kind of excited to see how Chromie is going to handle in the bottom lane. We've seen it in the past that you usually have Hanzo down here, Chromie, maybe a Greymane. And Dignitas in particular runs a style where they just leave one member in that bottom lane. The idea, clear out those back line minion waves, make sure that they get cleared up so you don't have any damage on your turret, and just poke where you need to. And then if you need to call upon your warrior to rotate down, JPL here, he will definitely come and help with that engage.
I already like what we saw from the Haka just a second ago. We'll be actually not completely looking only towards the top lane, but also sneaking towards the middle and hiding in the bush, seeing if maybe someone oversteps. But up to the top, Nazmas already finding himself dragged along as Wubi is trying to clear out the waves. And the battle between the two is going to be super interesting once those shrines activate, and you need to make sure that you will, first of all, keep the experience on lane, but also gain the control over the objective for your team.
Yeah, that lane kind of dictated on how Blaze wants to push forward, if he wants to play safe. Nazmus has been showing so far, and actually mentioned before that he's one of the safest players in North America when it comes to that top lane. So if Wubi can identify that, you'll see him rotate a little bit more often. Now, typical giant push already for both of our teams. You see Chromie and Johanna in the bottom lane clearing that out, and with that Dragon's Breath coming a little bit later on, you can clear out those giants. Lutano matching against Chromie here with the Hanzo, and that allows for Team Freedom to make an aggressive play for the Night Camp in the top right.
Yeah, and of course, when we're talking about the composition that Dignitas is playing, we mentioned a bit earlier that we have the adjustment of going into Johanna over Muradin, which we normally see as a standard for Dignitas on this map. And one of the advantages is you have so much more wave clear all of a sudden. You work well with Chromie, and you are pretty decent into Garrosh when he starts to go for these throws. But the wave clear that we have through the front line now for Dignitas is quite strong and really allows them to push these lanes out so much faster, which gives them more vision, more map control, and can set them up to push Freedom back early on.
Got a shout out Zug right there, solo by himself. Ooh, Wubby missing the tongue here. Zugger might be able to get a pick here if he can find Wubby. Wubby runs to the bush to top right to get that movement speed. Snitch has that warp available. Can he get away from the fight? He was waiting for jet propulsion to pop in. Looks like he might actually have it, and Team Freedom will find the first kill of the game.
Team Freedom with the first blood. Yeah, the initial reaction was great from Dignitas, moving away with their Haka, but then Snitch getting caught there, trying to delay the warp, and in comes Blaze with a quick stun. And you look at experience, and all of a sudden Freedom is way ahead here. They have another push going at the top lane, and they're capitalizing on that Phoenix kill. Dignitas has to be careful here. They're falling far behind in XP.
They had to bring Johanna all the way to top just to get that additional wave cleared. Haka will take the time to grab the shrine, but Team Freedom in a commanding lead against Dignitas, and I did not expect to say that here in game number 1. A half a level advantage, but Dignitas trying to respawn. They grab their own night camp, grab control of both shrines, and buy a little bit of time on the map.
Freedom so far did really well at the Western Clash, and they definitely showed up at the tournament. They were talking a lot about how when they traveled to their last event, how they overestimated their own abilities and how they paid the price later on. And they came in really level-headed, just saying, okay, we're here to improve, we take it one game at a time, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. They are the underdog in this, but now they have taken that small lead that could very well lead to a first DK for them if they play their cards right.
Look at this big change up here at level 4. Ignore all distractions coming online for Hanzo. Again, if you attack a minion, you get the kill on that instantly. You're also able to get the extra range for 3 seconds. Looks like Lutano wants to play safe and poke from afar.
And he definitely has to. If you're a little bit too close to Johanna in particular, she can set everything up for Chromie to get that kill. And Hanzo's hit point pool is not really the highest in the game. There's so much CC for Dignitas, so Lutano playing it safe is definitely something that can pay off of Freedom in the long run.
Crossfire also coming online now with Blaze, looking for that extra damage, a bit of a change-up this weekend. We've been seeing it a lot from a lot of Blaze players.
It has become the standard, actually.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see that some of these adjustments are now making it into every single build that we're seeing on the hero.
See if they're able to get that extra damage. Just a little bit more might give you that kill that you're looking for in the sustained meta that we've been seeing. Team at Dignitas hit 7 themselves, though. You see Cleanse come online, Dragon's Eye as well. Chromie about to hit that level 8, but Team Freedom, with having their lead, should be able to play it safe and not force any fights. Dignitas, however, continues to control the shrines time and time again. The issue is they just haven't had the chance to be able to move up and grab that dragon.
Yeah, the wave clear that we have from Dignitas really helps them a lot to control the shrines and always push Freedom back. But they cannot grab the Dragon Eye just yet. You talked about the level 8, and for Chromie, this is going to be so important right now. If they go for Temporal Loop, they can definitely try and get a few kills here against the squishy backliners, and that's what they're trying to look for. Freedom, of course, absolutely aware of it.
Yeah.
So they will have to play pretty careful here, but it threatens the Dragon Knight again.
I mean, you noticed it from Lutano. The moment 8 was about to hit, he backed up and got behind his turrets. He did not want to risk a temporal loop coming out because that would blow up Hanzo. In fact, it is going to be the temporal loop here from Chromie. With no wins coming in from Decker Kane, typically you can find that target. Now, with that being said, Team Freedom at level 10 will have bunkers, so they can jump a target into the bunker to stop temporal loop from blowing somebody up.
I was actually even expecting Chromie to maybe transition into the middle, just because of the double shrine pressure, you force Freedom to have heroes present in the mid lane to try and go for these interrupts, and that could create an opportunity for Chromie to set an ult up and maybe the kill. But Chromie still holding the bot lane. We have Poik also with a lot of trouble stacking. He's only sitting at 8 stacks at this point because he's only finding himself in this one-on-one situation against Lutano.
One of the issues of being in a one-on-one, that's why you'll see on maps like Braxis Holdout, if you have a 4-man lane, you can have Chromie there because she has more targets to hit. But Lutano, fully aware of what Chromie wants to do, has been dodging every single sandblast that has come his way. On our way to level 10, Team Freedom will hit it first. Nasmus has a little pressure on the top left, though. Can Wubby land this drag on top of him and pull him in? Wubby, keep moving forward, lands the dragon. Remember, he has that feeding frenzy. Nasmus stays here and get knocked down, but here's Lutano with an arrow.
Lutano with the arrow, and Snitch is in trouble. The bunker is out as well. Wubby on the way back. They're trying to slow him down, and here comes Decker Kane. Wubby with a burrow, dodging everything at least for now, but he might not escape after all. The sleep comes in, and Hanzo secures their kill as Team Freedom takes kill number 2.
Team Freedom up to 2 kills to the 0 of Team Dignitas, and now they set up a play to grab the shrine at the top, and they'll keep pushing forward. With Jaina in here, dropping the blizzards. They clear out these minion waves, and they can try to grab a 4, but JPL, he says no. He steps up, he drops the Blessed Shield. Here's a Salvo, but Snitch falls.
Snitch goes down, the turnaround attempt though as Lutano finds himself in trouble. Zayla with the body blocks, and in comes Swoopy, goes in with a Global, but Garrosh saves him for now. In the end, he still falls. Uther with a final blow. Zelia also, it's a massive brawl at the top lane.
Yoda trying to get away, but he gets hit. Zugra comes in with the taunt, will try to stop Chromie, but she has a sandblast. Can she land it on him? She hits him, but he has just enough armor. Back and forth here in the top lane.
Great isolation by Wooby, but then we're seeing once again Blaze making sure that everyone is able to escape here. 2 kills against 3 on the map, and Dignitas is now claiming the top shrine. Immediately the mid lane to send up attention as Nazmas is trying to delay a Dragonite for as long as possible.
He has another oil spill. Can he get off the flame here? Though he does, but not in time. Team Dignitas will grab the dragon and aim to push.
Such a close call here. Blaze falling 2 in the mid lane. We had Garrosh on the shrine at the bottom of the map, but he was not there in time. The Dragonite captures Blaze down, and all of a sudden Dignitas with momentum on their side.
Momentum can be helpful. See if they can open up the map here, take out some turrets, maybe look for a fort in that bottom lane. You see Chromie already rotating towards there, but Team Freedom, I gotta say here in game number 1, they are putting up a fight.
Yeah, they're definitely showing up. They're not playing timid at all here. They play very disciplined. They got the early kills, but now they have to face the music. And the Dragonite is already powering through the bot lane. The wall is gone, the turret's destroyed, and they're going straight for the fort here.
The problem is one of their main destroyers of a dragon is Jaina. Jaina had to go to the top lane to soak up with Nazmus dying in the middle lane. She had to soak the experience, so she is late here, meaning Team Dignitas can use that dragon to take out a fort, and they do easily.
And we come back to the wave clear too. The only thing Wooby had to do was move past the fort and clear the wave. But here comes the arrow again. Stay a while and listen as Deckard Kane moves in, but the DK with a punt. Practicing here for the NFL and getting a really good one.
You got to call out Zelia there. First off, getting knocked out of the sleep. He turned around and put his eyes and attention on top of Blaze. Blaze was the one that would follow up that arrow into a jet propulsion. He made sure to stand in front and also provide a stun so Team Dignitas could back up away from the heroics being used by Team Freedom.
Camps now taken towards the bot lane. Dignitas with the level 13 talent advantage, trying to control the map through mercenary camps, putting some extra pressure onto the bottom lane. They still hold the top with Dehaka, but the use of the global that we've seen in these fights is exactly why you draft Dehaka here. Urel was taken away. They still had the opportunity to take Blaze for themselves, but they just value the macro play too much. And we've seen throughout the Western Clash how impactful Wooby is on that hero. Even though in the regular play in Europe, we have in Phase 2 not seen Dehaka from them.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. That mid to late game, Dehaka will become an important tool for Team Dignitas, but Team Freedom on their side, they do have electric heroics here that they can use. Dropping a Dragon's Arrow into a Stay a While Listen. They can force fights before Dehaka comes in for the brush talk, so he's a little on the late side. Team Freedom needs to find those moments. For targets that they need to look for, you can try and grab Chromie on that back line, but you have to watch out for timeout with that Dragon's Arrow, or even landing on Phoenix, who provides that big hitbox, easy for you to land it.
At this point, Freedom is really just trying to see if they can maybe find a kill here again. They're hiding in the bushes, they're setting up small traps, and they are playing around vision as much as they can right now. But JPL is just super safe on this Johanna. With Iron Skin being in your arsenal, you can always escape from this. Wooby, on the other hand, gets found out and immediately blown to pieces here. He's forced into the burrow and is straight. Just trying to escape here. Even the water elemental coming out, slowing him. The taunt is in. Freedom is just doing everything they can to kill him, but the Divine Shield of Zelia saves him.
Exactly. Zelia right there with the cleanse and the Divine Shield, and Dehaka is able to walk away thanks to the Essence. Team Freedom dropping everything they could into that fight. Dignitas respond in kind and grab their camp into the top left, have that pushing in, and it all comes right before Shrines activate in 3 seconds.
They basically blew all the cooldowns at this point to get that kill, to secure the kill against Dehaka, and it didn't work out. Zelia was there in time with the Divine Shield, trading a cooldown on his own, but now we're seeing Dignitas with a level lead and a pretty decent position as they're trying to move into the second Dragonite.
Team Freedom keeps their focus in the top lane, but that opens up the bottom for Dignitas to push in, and they do so, looking to get that keep turret low as they move towards that level 16. We start to see Dignitas grabbing it, massive experience lead, 15.5 to 14.5, and Team Freedom wants to stop that.
There's no Divine Shield this time, and Zelia gets rooted. This should be the end of him, and he goes down. Freedom with a kill against Uther.
Uther pickup. Was wondering if we might see Chromie fall up into a temporal loop and try to pick off a target with Divine Shield, or with Uther falling, you still have the heal trickling in, but Dignitas, they decided to back away. They're too close to 16. They didn't want to risk anything.
Freedom is again leading in kills. They're level behind in experience, but they are here to fight, and they are putting up a pretty tough one for Dignitas to break through. But Snitch again with an attempt to go for the decay. Keep in mind, they're in a forward situation. The arrow, it's a triple, and Zograk is moving in. They want the kill on Chromie, but they do not get close enough to Poik to secure it.
Sadly, Blaze was just not quite there. If Zograk could have thrown Nasmus and got the Jet Propulsion follow-up, they could have had a kill, but just a little too far away from the initial engagement.
Still a lot of pressure here on Freedom. Now a 16 is in the hands of Team Dignitas, and they intend to use that to get another Dragonite and just propel forward in experience. Wooby holding the top for as long as possible. Lutano moving in. They need to take him down, but there's the Dragonite channel in the mid lane. Freedom could not interrupt, and Wooby is still safe, burrowed into the middle of the map immediately to join up with the rest of the team for the push.
Yeah, he was aware that Hans was in the top lane, wanted to play safe, didn't want to take any damage, just wants to go and join up with his team for this massive push. The fort in the middle will be cleared up, and Dignitas can set their eyes on the keep in the bottom right. Team Freedom will have defense available for them. Hanzo and Jaina will be in this bottom lane as soon as they set up here. They can clear up this dragon quickly. They are in a position where they can get a team fight. Wubby is aware of this. He hides in the bush in the top left corner, watching out for flanks, but also there to stop his team from falling victim to big heroics.
At this point, we have Benediction also for Uta, of course, and that is such a massive tool in the arsenal of Xaylia. Even double stuns whenever they see a kill opportunity could be a thing. Great dodge on the arrow here, only hitting Snitch, not going on to Poik, but he's still in trouble, and immediately Xaylia is there trying to help him out as we have the Haka moving in, aiming for an isolation. Is on cooldown for now, but Blaze with a clutch bunker, barely escaping, but the salvo is there, and they take him down.
They take him down, and the collusion might be next. JPL going for it, going for the chase. He has a shield, but too far away. Team Freedom backs up with 4, but they save their keep.
Bless Shield trying to connect here with Deckard Kane, but just slightly outside of range. Dignitas will have to make do with 1 kill only, at least for now. But they have the lead in experience, and that kill just gave them map control again. And they are trying to use it to grab the night camp of their opponent, aggressively invading it and guarding it with 5-man.
We've gotten to the late game here. We have a bit of an adjustment compared to some Jainas that we see in Europe. We have the Numbing Blast level 16 looking for the roots. And Jaina, who's about to finish up her quest, she needs about 5,000 more damage, but she'll get that Ice Block in too. So Jaina can start to get more aggressive, maybe come in for a flank and look to blow up Chromie, because they've been this close multiple times in a fight.
There were so many instances where Poik just barely escaped, and a lot of it is due to Xaylia too, who's just always there, has a cleanse ready when it's needed, has the Benediction now for the potential double heal even. He's doing such a fantastic job to keep his backliner safe. Freedom with the invader on the camp, but Dignitas is absolutely happy to fight here. They're moving in deep. Tehaka already on the point, and we have Garrosh in trouble. There's the camp, and it's taken immediately, but we're seeing Poik just shelling away with Chromie, getting one after another, but it's Wooby who dies first. Johanna follows Freedom with a quick into the fray as Nasmas confirms another 2. Great team by Freedom. They get a quad kill here at the bot lane wall.
Too much area of effect damage coming in, even with the Spell Knight camp coming up for Team Dignitas, because they were able to steal away the camp. The Blizzards, the scatter arrows flinging in left and right, just put out way too much damage. That Pierce on level 16 for Hanzo shredded Team Dignitas. Watch this team fight here. As Dig comes in early, they know they want to start the aggression.
Yeah, there comes the Blessed Shield, and they really think they have it, but then Lutana has so much freedom there in the backline, and it's just shooting the arrow, and that's a massive one, hitting everybody, and it's the beginning of the end for Dignitas in the fight. Into the fray that we saw from Garrosh just catapults Nasmas forward, shuts off the path of retreat from Dignitas, and they lose 4 in the process.
My, how much Team Freedom has grown. This used to be a team that just focused on macro and macro only, but they have grown as a team-fighting team, and they are actually taking Dignitas toe-to-toe here, even ahead in team fights, 8-4, and now they have a dragon in the late game.
They are absolutely impressing at this tournament, and again, they've talked about how at previous events they were a little bit too overconfident, and how that has really changed the perception they have of themselves and their approach to the game. And it shows here. They see themselves in the underdog position, but they're still saying, we're not afraid to fight here. We'll do our best to win this. And currently, they're taking that lead in experience back again. And if you look at the minimap, Dignitas hasn't taken a keep. They have led for so long in this game, but there's nothing tangible that they can really rely upon now. It's Freedom who makes the first real push for a keep in the game.
And they're pushing right when they're about to hit 20. They are an inch away from that 20. The turrets go down, there goes the gate, and 20 connects. Now they do have 40 more seconds in this dragon. It is low on health, but they want this keep. They need this keep. They want to get that catapult pressure and have momentum in the late game.
The Dragon Knight moving into tower range, not waiting for a wave, and there's a pretty simple reason for it. They did not push out the waves behind them, so their own minion wave couldn't push through. Normally you're trying to wait for your minions so that the tower shots are soaked up, and then you move in with the Dragon Knight to destroy your opponent's wave with a fire breath, but that didn't happen here. I feel Freedom felt a little pressured here. The smarter play from their perspective would have been to just wait on the lane, go a little bit back, take the minion wave that is behind them, and then move in. They had the time, but now they only break through the wall. I think they could have gotten more here.
It's a situation where you feel threatened. You have a slight lead over Team Dignitas. Not many teams actually get there, and that, being in the back of your mind, can make you have the weirdest, smallest plays that can throw you off a little bit, and I feel like that's definitely what happened.
I think it's a momentum thing. You win that fight, and you're so hyped at this point. It's like, go, 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 go. But normally what you would like to see from them is clear out that wave first and then move in with those minions. But be it as it may, they have 8 kills against 4. They look at a fantastic game, and they are absolutely dead even with Dignitas when it comes to the position on the map.
I love the lack of fear, though. You see Zugberg come in the top left corner looking for a possible pick on Dahaka.
Yeah.
Luckily, Wubby wasn't fully rotating up there. We almost had a Chromie pick, but timeout came out.
Talking about Chromie, you raise it as a point here, and let's talk about the stacks on Poik again. He's currently
43.
At 43. Nothing to write home about, but he's slowly getting there. And oftentimes we see exactly that. When you play on the high level, it's pretty tough to get those stacks going, depending on the map you play, depending on the objective and how many team fights you're involved in. So Poik is slowly starting to get towards the completion of his quest. And the same is true for Jaina.
It almost feels like if you do get your stacks finished off before 15 minutes, your opponents are playing poorly, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone just evolves so much there. Now, as we head to the late game, we will be having another Dragon spawn in about 20 seconds. Team Freedom is doing everything they can to prepare for that. Night Camp pushing in the top lane to counter Dahaka so they can group as 5 and decide where they want to fight.
I really like the point that you just brought up. It's not only about your own Chromie play, it's also of the understanding that your opponent has.
Yeah.
And Freedom isn't a bunch of dummies that just stands there and plays target practice with the Sandblasts. So well done by Freedom too, just dodging out on so many of these Sandblasts throughout the game, trying to make sure that Poik is not the deciding factor in those team fights.
Now, as we get to late game, things that we have to talk about. Contagion coming online for Dahaka is a powerful tool for Dignitas, but at the same time, over to Team Freedom, they have that bunker. Remember, bunker can cleanse out these isolations, so it's all on top of Nazmus to make sure that when he sees that isolation come out, he's able to pop out his heroic for his teammates. Also, although they want to stack as a 5-man unit here in the bottom right corner, they have to spread out. You see that already. They don't want to get locked down into that big AoE coming from Dahaka.
And now in 20, we have for Jaina also Wintermute, so we are going to see the water elemental with the increased range, and it can mimic the basic abilities of Jaina. Opinions on that are actually sometimes pretty torn, but at this point, it's a great tool for them to lock down that Chromie, for example. We talked about the escapes or the attempts that we've seen. Snitch actually eating a lot of damage in that little encounter we see here at the bot lane. As Freedom is actually the team that is so far attempting to call the shots here. They're setting up with their Arcane and the Endless Flask, and they're just sieging up in positions.
They realize they have the competition for that. You have a Garrosh. You don't want him to sit back and kind of dance around, allow Chromie to poke your teammates.
Yeah.
You want to be the aggressors, and Team Freedom are mimicking that play style. They are being wary of where Dahaka is. When he missed out on the top lane and when he disappeared, Team Freedom pulled away right away. They want to know where he's at, and they're checking every single bush.
Yeah, it's such a great point. Vision is so important at this point, because if you lose a hero, he's down for more than a minute. So you find yourself in a position where a single kill can decide the outcome of the game, especially as the objective scales. And talking about single kills, here might be one, and they get it. Blaze goes down as the Contagion was used to silence him completely. No bunker opportunity here for Blaze, and Freedom loses their offlaner. Dignitas again with momentum.
That was a coordinated bait actually happening for Team Freedom. They wanted Blaze to come to the bottom left and then be able to drop the bunker when Team Dignitas tried to blow him up. But Dahaka was on point, dropped the isolation. He was silenced. He couldn't use it.
The Blessed Shield, the immediate silence there. The follow-up was perfect from Dignitas. But the deny on the Dragon Knight, at least for now. Freedom really trying to buy the time for Blaze to come back into this. They take the top, they start a rotation again. They can at least buy enough time for Blaze to be back for defense. But Dignitas, they are of course looking for the DK now.
They have to be careful. Temporal Loop is still up and available. Without the bunker being available, suddenly you have to rely on Frey to save a target. Decker Kane, Hanzo, Jaina even is in a situation where she can be picked off. Granted, her ice block has been finished up, but still, you are threatened by that Temporal Loop.
They give up the Dragon Knight. They just bought enough time for Blaze to come back, and you can see it right now. He will be there for the defense, but this is the moment they can really decide the game. If Dignitas finds a kill, They have Blessed Shield up, they have Contagion, they have every single heroic ability available to them now. If they, with this push, find a kill, they will go for a core. For Freedom, they have to be so careful now, while at the same time trying to shred that Dragon Knight as fast as possible.
They have to have a disciplined and confident defense. Team Freedom starts poking, looking at the dragon, arrows being flung by Lutano.
And look at Dignitas. They move back, they wait for their own minion wave to arrive, they burn the minion wave of Freedom, and then they move in with their minions and the DK. Always the back and forth, ebb and flow the entire time. Again, going for the keep here.
Oh, there it is!
Oh, there's the kill! Lutano goes down, Hanzo is eliminated, and Dignitas might be looking for more now.
That's how quick Dignitas can be. When they see an opportunity, they seize it. They pick off Hanzo, and now Team Freedom is forced to defend with only 4. The good news for them, the Dragon's low on health, but Team Dignitas, they think they have a win under their belt.
The Dragon is down once again, the jet propulsion, but Nasmas this time
Salvo.
not hitting, gets actually dodged. A salvo comes through, threatens them a little bit, but no kill just yet. Dignitas wants to go for the core. Celia is the one that's being attacked. He has redemption though. He goes down, but that's what Dignitas wants now. The reduced cooldown as the core is falling. They're going for it. The taunt comes in. Snitch might be in a bit of trouble here, and he is about to fall, but his 20 procs and keeps him alive a little bit longer.
Celia with the heals and the Divine Shield. Dignitas was not threatened at all. They turn around and focus the core, and they'll get the first win over Team Freedom and the best of 5.
Really well executed by Dignitas towards the end here. The focus onto Uther, that's exactly what Celia is waiting for. It's like, I'm fine, I'm the first one to fall. That's fantastic. Then they shift the target towards Snitch. Phoenix doesn't fall. He procs his level 20, the Unconquered Spirit, and then Divine Shield comes out. Just no way for Freedom to shut down the damage and save their core again. It all started with a snap decision to go for Hanzo.
One of the things that Dignitas has done so well all year is execute their compositions, and that was on full display in the late game. They didn't need full team wipes. They needed 1, maybe 2 picks, and then they could push forward and take down important infrastructure of Team Freedom. Team Freedom, on the other hand, though, they came out firing. I'm actually very pleasantly surprised to see how many kills they had in the early game. It's just a matter of whether or not they can carry to the late game.
Exactly. They had a great and fantastic first map, and I am so excited to see more from them as we go along in the best of 5 here. But first, we're going to hear from our panel what they think about Game 1.
Just like the crowd there, I think everybody had to take a deep breath there. Poik is like the sigh of relief after that game. Team Freedom, they're showing that they are here to fight. I don't think anybody expected that close of a game number 1.
Here to fight is definitely the key term there, because when we actually had the full team fights, Team Freedom looked like the better team. They were able to take so many of those fights thanks to that Dragon Arrow. It's when Dignitas were able to get their picks, using that high lockdown comp, using that temporal loop, using those heavy stuns from Uther especially, they were able to pick up kills. That was fascinating to see.
Team Freedom looked really, really good in that game. What I really liked about their play in general was the fact that they had such high top lane focus. Instead of just sitting bottom lane, letting the Chromie stack up a whole bunch, they focused on the top lane. They shut down the Dahaka as well. So it was a twofold play to do that, and I thought it was fantastic. However, in some situations, they overextended a little bit. That's how Dignitas got that one Dragon Knight, and it really just helped them snowball themselves into an even game that Team Freedom very much had control of.
Kaldor mentioned as we started that game about how much success that we've seen with Chromie with Dignitas, unlike other teams, and they pair that with the Johanna, and every time it's like, all right, Johanna goes in, you don't need necessarily the Blessed Shield, but since Blessed Shield is on a short cooldown, those late game picks that we saw there at the end are pretty much all you need to turn the tides in the game. So for Dignitas, that seemed like that was their strategy, that's how they know to play, but for Team Freedom to counter that hard, I was super impressed with that. So for them, it is going to be something that they'll have to focus on. The Murden was not the pick up there, it's something that Zugruggen team can definitely go back into for us to take a look at that going forward. But thoughts going into game number 2. Team Freedom, they already had Dignitas against the ropes. They had a very strong and concise plan there. But what do we need from them in game 2 to maybe get them over the edge?
They just need to make sure that they follow through with their late game plans. That's basically the biggest problem that they had. We noticed pretty much the swing factor in that game was the fact that Blaze got one shot in the bottom lane. It was actually a very good setup, a good bait, but the fact is he didn't get off his bunker in time, and that was the main problem. So the idea was good, the execution was poor, and against a team like Dignitas, you make one even small mistake like that during the late game, they will take the victory.
Kaldor and Trick called it out as well in the fact that they didn't clear out the minions when they pushed in the bot lane. So like you exactly just now said, late game planning can be a huge deal and can be exactly what they need to work on to move in, because like we said, there was a time when they were pretty far ahead. They had the level 20, they had Dragon Knight pushed in, but because they didn't have the minions to tank the Dragon Knight, they weren't able to take a keep, which meant that they were on even footing moving into 20s.
Well, we mentioned some of the strong power picks that have kind of developed through our meta here at the Western Clash, and one of those is the Diablo. 100% participation rate coming into this weekend. He is the most picked hero, or most banned hero, most involved hero, and then of course the Medivh that we mentioned with Phoenix. Kyle, I want to go back to that point because we've seen so much emphasis now from the Medivh and the Maiev banned out. Is there any chance that we see either of those heroes during the series?
There's a slight chance, but honestly, I would say no for the most part. Phoenix, however, I do still think we're going to see some involvement when it comes to picks, not just bans. But yes, if we're talking about the Medivh, we're talking about the Maiev, I do think there's pretty high likelihood that they remain banned in this situation.
Well, I also want to focus on these two teams because these are the two teams that sit at the top of not just their region, but at the top of the world in terms of least deaths per game. That's right, Dignitas, it's almost like an anomaly. I have no idea how they get those numbers. That's how dominant they are within Europe. But you see Team Freedom, this is something very different. I highlighted this a little bit the other day, is that Team Freedom, they now sit at the top of North America, not in terms of just least deaths, but also their KD. It's something that even during their great streak, that 4-0 start that we saw at the beginning of the year, they were mid-tier fighting team. The stats did not reflect their record. Now the stats are reflecting their record, and it's most notably in the fact that they were able to get the kills while also staying alive. And despite their record not being as pristine as some of the other teams, they are statistically one of the strongest that we have in North America and clearly globally.
Yeah, the statistics are finally starting to show up, like you said. They were able to take those low deaths. And even in the team fights, as we already mentioned, the team fights, they came out ahead, losing very few people each time. It's all those individual picks. It's the positioning where they were starting to show a little bit of weakness there.